Hello everybody, welcome to a little bit of a different video today. My name is Nocturnal and this is something I've been putting off for a while now. Welcome to Izavar. Izavar is the main continent for my book slash D&D campaigns slash most of my creative process. It's the third continent in my world project, Aza, however you want to pronounce it. This is Izavar. It's very, very similar to the Slovenian Izavar, which is decoction, which, as a decoction is to boil water. It's how you're going to disseminate things. And I'd like to say there's a meaningful connection there. I'd like to say that, hey, I've named it this because it's sort of a melting pot. And in some ways, it is. It absolutely is. There's a lot of fantasy cultures clashing here in this map. But no, that was not originally why I named it that. And so actually what you're looking at right now is not... Well, it is. It's Izavar 4.0. It's been through a lot of changes already. But what we're working on today is 5.0. We are revamping the entire map. So what are some of the biggest issues that I think... are there at the moment? So right now I think some of the biggest issues is that there is no water. That is huge writing. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. So we've got no real water. If you look, we have right down here, right next to Exeter, we have Exeter. We have a little bit of water coming out of the mountain runoff, and then we've got some here at Westray. But then, other than that, we have the Lake of Love in Borvi, but that doesn't really help the continent, though, does it? We have nothing down here. How are these people getting water? This is the ocean. That's going to suck for them. Desert sucks to suck. Down here in the Fort Asgul, Veritas, Eerily location, there's nothing to drink, nothing water related at all. So that's one of the big things I want to change with 5.0 is introducing water. Next up, I thought that 4.0 kind of looks a little bit cluttered. I think that while it does what I needed it to do very well, that if you were to sit down and look at this, you're like, whoa, there's so much. You've got a lot of bolded text. All the cities are bolded. Exeter, Jedburgh, Clup, Fulmus, Norwich, the Royal Castle, Ashbourne, Gulku, let's see, Veritas, Passangry, Varabanag, Cogtrek. It's all bolded, and that's great, but I don't think so much emphasis needs to be put on a place such as Jedburgh in comparison to a place such as Ashbourne, which is the capital of the Humans' Kingdom. So personally, I want to change something like that too. Another thing, I felt like the scale was a little bit weird. So let me come back up in here and do text readability. So, and then I felt like scale was off. So what I mean by that is like, just in general, I think you can kind of get a sort of idea for what I mean. I think in terms of maps, it's sort of fine. Maps can be simple and have a big scale, but at the same time, I feel like this is very small. It feels very cramped to me. I felt like the continent feels like it's huge, but then once everything's in it, it seems they seem oversized personally. So I want to change that too. And then what else I want to do is uniqueness. Uniqueness. There we go. Uniqueness. So what I mean by that is if we look at, let's see, the fortresses. The fortresses is probably the best example I can give. Howard's Fortress down here, and then Hastings Keep up here, and Black House Fortress up here. Now, a plus side is that they're all the same, so if you see it, you know it's a fort, you know it's a keep, you know it's some defendable location that is sitting in the world, and that's great. That's not a bad thing at all. But I wanted things to look a bit more unique. I wanted them to look a bit more recognizable if you were to look at 5.0. And I started touching upon that in 4.0, but I didn't entirely do it. Like Borvi is a little bit based off of the actual map, and Westray is a little bit based off of the actual map. If I put this over here, actually, and then I click on this, we'll see the Westray map, and we'll see Westray over here, and I just tried to zoom in the wrong spot. So Westray's main focus is as the floating isles, and it's got the cherry blossoms. And you can kind of see there's kind of a little bit of depth there. The cherry blossoms are kind of on a different levels, but sort of fits, sort of doesn't. Do I need to rework these maps as well? Yes, I do. But that's a question and a problem for another later date. So I've already started on 5.0, and I just wanted to work on it a little bit as a recording because I've said I'd do it for a long time, and I really haven't. Only because I sit here when I make these maps and I have a lot of back and forth. I don't always make progress right away, and to me, I feel like that might be a little boring for some people. Oh, and that brings me to another point. Let me bring the text back up. Let's see. Style is a big one. You see the fortress here, the fortress artwork is very different from the Kapithki artwork, which is very different than, I would say, the refuge artwork, which is also very bland, something I want to address. Very different from the Tree of Life. We have too many art styles that are kind of clashing here together. So let's see what I've sort of already kind of addressed. So what I'm going to do now is, this is my reference when I'm working on 5.0 is 4.0. Because I don't want to fundamentally change a lot of things. I want to add, and I want to add to something that's already there. So I know this is a very long-winded introduction here, but so really all we're going to do is I'm going to bring this back down. I'm going to drop the opacity down to 0, drop this back down to -5. So this is the current build of 5.0. So as you can see here, let's do that. And then where did that go? Uh-oh, now I've lost it, haven't I? That's alright. Not a big deal. So, as you probably see before, we've added a lot of new locations. Orkney's new, Nebkiv Crater's new. The Pyramid of Whatnan was not new, but Whatnan itself is back. Instead, we put Ruins of Boneport and the Leviathan's Rest over here. And the Zatado prison is also in there now. Where did this go? My reference image is supposed to be in here, but it's not. Doesn't make sense to me. Probably because it's hidden. So, yep, now it'll show up for me, right? Yep, there it is. That's not what I wanted. So let's bring this back up. So this is the overlay. So you can see Vrabanog, the old one, is huge. We had a lot more mesas over here. Let's bring this back up, actually. You know what, we can just do it this way. Perfect. So we can see Vrabanog before was huge. There was nothing else here in this kingdom. The ruins were here. The Pyramid of Whatnan was here. The mesas were there. But I wanted to add more to it. It's a kingdom. It's not just one location. It's a whole kingdom. So what we did, added 2 new settlements, Whatnan and Orkney, added the ruins of old settlements, added some depth to the desert, and Zatado prison. Really, I couldn't address the water problem here because that's simply just not something that you can do in a desert. But I could start addressing it when we got here into the actual continent. So after going through the pass here, the mountain pass, you enter into the human kingdom of Zithia, and immediately we have the mountain ranges, so we can have water sources. Obviously, water's going to flow downwards, and now that I'm looking at this, I see an error here. Oh my dear lord, why? There we go. There we go. Now that's connecting. That's going to make me feel better. So now if we go back to Izavar 4.0, you could see that before there was absolutely nothing there. No water, no nothing like that. Howard's Fortress was moved over a little bit. Watford's in the same location. We moved a couple other things. We've added a little homestead, Skull Lake. We've made some changes up here. This is mostly the same. I've added a second club settlement, which is good. Again, these are somewhat kingdoms. They're not singular locations. They're not city-states. So we come up here. We've added some ruins to the rainforest. We've changed the mushroom forest a little bit to make it a little bit more isolated. There is a point of interest in the mushroom forest, but if you were a map maker that was in this world, you wouldn't notate it on the map. It's not that important, so it's not noted down here. It's something that somebody would have to discover in D&D, or something that might be touched upon in the books. So in the rainforest, I had to come up with one big problem. This all up here is a rainforest. This all up here, or down here, is a normal forest. And now these are relatively close. This is what, day 2 ride? Didn't make sense for the rainforest to be right there, overlapping so much with the regular forest. So what I needed to do was I needed to elevate the northern half of the continent, and then I needed to have heat, or a heat source coming from the mountains that is going to be carried through the water. So really what we need is we need another lake and river coming this way that's going to carry hotter water than usual this direction. These snow caps are going to provide the more proper temperature water heading southward, and that's what's going to kind of keep this up north a little bit more humid, a bit more temperate, and what's south here a bit more quote-unquote normal. Norwich, second largest city in the kingdom of the humans, and right across from Ashbourne and the Whitney Royal Castle, which admittedly should be the palace, but we're not going to touch on that too much. So what I want to do today, now that we're 11 minutes in, 12 minutes in, and I've been just talking your ear off, what I wanted to do today, and I'll zoom in on this so you can take a look at this as we get there, is I wanted to work on the islands, I believe. If I get through them a little bit quickly, then we'll work on something else, but I wanted to touch on specifically 2 big islands, and that's going to be this one up here, which is Borvey, and it's going to be this one down here, which is the Forbidden Isle. These 2 hold very significant... These 2 hold great significance in the writing. In Borvey, when the main character first arrives in this fantasy world, is where they're going to first have their interactions with the family they never knew they had. This is where they're going to meet their cousins, their uncle, their aunt, and friends and everything like that. So it's a very significant location, so I really wanted to give it the justice it deserves. And now if we zoom in over here, so we have some free space on our left, I'll put up the Borvey map. So that's kind of what it sort of looks like. Again, I need to rework these maps too, but it's going to give you a bit of a look ahead of time. And now if we come down here to the Forbidden Isle, it is, as it says, forbidden because none ever leave it. Now it's very significant in the book. It is a huge turning point. It involves loss and sacrifice, and it becomes a place of trials and tribulations, death, destruction, and welcome to a loss of innocence. This isn't some Disney world that I'm living in where everybody's sunshine and rainbows. This place is going to destroy whoever sets foot in it, and it's going to be a very, very big wake-up call for the main character, especially with their companions and the friends for whom they unfortunately end up there with, that not all leave. And now if I come over here, and I'm going to show you the Forbidden Isle map, which is very, very, very big, bare bones. Again, I need to redo these maps. That's okay. That's okay. That can come in time. But the old maps still provide a good baseline for us to work off of. So let's see what to start with. I would like to think that Forbidden Isle might be the best place to start with. Let's see. I think the Forbidden Isle and surrounding isles is, like I said, going to be the best place to start. So if we come down over here, let's see. Let's take a look at the Forbidden Isle map one more time. So what do we have going on here? So we have a large, I want to say mountain, occurring. And we've also got what looks to be a lake, as well as a old ruined temple. Now, that's great. What else can we do to make this better? I think the general shape is a little bit wrong, right? So if anything, we should add a brush here. We should make this have a tail, mimicking the actual image we have on screen. Tail there. This should be rounded to there. And then that's fine. We'll cut this across there. And then this, we're going to round this off. That's okay. Let's see, this is okay. We're going to round this. These sharp edges aren't as likely when they're getting battered by the ocean constantly, so I'm okay with getting rid of them. I'm going to do this and this, leave that in there. And then we're going to fill this in a little bit more like that. Perfect. It's not one-to-one, but it's a little bit better than what we had, right? Maybe we'll cut this out. We could give it a little bit of a cove. And then we're going to do this. And I think we actually make this a little bit bigger. I think that's well, maybe not that big. Oop, sorry, I smacked my mic. There we go. Okay. So that's a decent enough start right there. It's a little bit more accurate. So now I'm going to get rid of this. So we have a mountain. Mountain's going to be the first thing we want to do. So I want to keep things consistent. So I'm going to open up my Jatuz mountain. And I'm going to take my cliffs. So that's going to give me my stamp options, 50 size, -2, which is great. I'm going to back out of here. Come back, put the stamps. Okay. Now let's see. I don't want them to be rocky cliffs, so I'm okay with doing this instead. Same stamp size, everything like that. I want to do regular cliffs. And then I'm going to cut that in there. No, not quite, not quite. It's a little bit of a game of playing with the stamps and what the stamps can do for me, and how I can use them. So they're not always kind. They don't always fit together how you like, and it's very frustrating at times. But I'm very thankful to have these tools on anyway. I don't know what I would be doing or how I would be doing this if I didn't have these tools. So I'm very thankful. Let's see. No, not well. If we flip that. No. No. Be nice if maybe we rotate this and make this fit. Okay. You know what? I'm happy with that. I'm happy with that. So then I think, personally, I feel like it kind of looked like, and I don't know about you, but to me it kind of looked like originally I had a second island on top. Or not a second island, a second mountain on top. Plateau. So 1, and then 2, and then honestly it even looks maybe like 3. Wouldn't you say? Not that we have to do that again, but I think it's important to recognize that it's there. So maybe we do this, and then this, and we cut this back across. I like that. I don't want to make it too boxy. Wouldn't look too good if I did. Well, we might have to go boxy. No, I don't think we do. Let's actually grab all of these. Let's shift them over a little bit. Actually, you know what? Let's use this instead. Instead of saying we can't do something, how about we incorporate it? let's flip this around and then throw this there. Maybe rotate this a little bit, and then boom, that becomes a natural pathway up to the very top, which is what we need because something is at the top. And then I think maybe we come in here and let's grab rocky cliffs maybe. I feel like that kind of contrasts a little bit too much, don't you think? Oh, I like that. I do like that. I wish that wasn't. There we go. Now that looks a little bit better. And then I actually want to get rid of that one because now the entrance to the higher section requires you to go all the way around from up here. Suffering. That's what we need. So obviously this is the world map. This is not going to have the perfect amount of detail relating in relation to the actual map itself. But the more I can make it accurate, the happier I'll be. So now we're going to make the lake that we saw, which is very significant. A good portion of time is spent near this lake, at least in the novel, which is currently being worked on. I haven't looked at it in a couple weeks, which is actually kind of upsetting to me, but I actually opened up today and wrote a couple words. But while that might not sound like a lot, a couple words is more than I'd written previously. So I'm happy. So now here's the next issue, is the map becomes a little bit too similar because the grass is all the same. There's no variation here. So what we're going to start with lightening up this. Actually, you know what? We'll just lighten up this whole section here. So top of the plateau is a little bit lighter than the bottom. And I think we're going to take the regular flooring. I'm just going to darken it to maybe a 79. 79 sounds good. Ooh, you know what? I like that a lot. I like that a lot. This is a place of no hope. Desperation. I like this. It's not going to be nice. Okay. So now we definitely have some difference in attention here. So let's see. So we got one big issue here is the pathing. Sudden abrupt change in color path is not right. So we're going to drop the opacity a little bit. And we're just going to dot this. We're going to dot this. So the darkness and the light kind of blend together a little bit. It's not exactly one. It's not exactly the other. That's good. And we're actually going to do the same thing once we find what color we want at the top of this too. Oh, oops, I forgot to bring my brush back. Nope, not quite that. Maybe we go with the original color on top here. And then, let's see, go back here, drop the opacity a little bit. There we go. Okay. It's not perfect, but I like that there's some variation here. It's a good start. It's a good start. Now let's see if we can find a building that I think reasonably could fit in as the ruined temple upon this island. Now, we might not find it in here, and that's okay. But I think maybe we should just go straight into ruins. Tower ruin, farm ruin, village ruin, city, castle, village. I'm willing to think that the castle will do for us. I think that's more than worthwhile for our purposes. Now it's going to be a little, well, shouldn't be too small compared to the other stuff. So settlements and everything like that are usually a 45 on the rest of the map. So this is going to be a little bit smaller. We're going to adjust the lake just a little bit to fit it. And we'll make the lake a little bit larger on this side. Okay. Nice. So another issue is just like we changed the pathing over on the mountain plateau, we're going to have to change the water too. I think we got the dark blue water here. So I think I kind of want to go even darker for in here. Again, abandon all hope. Now, I guess it is pretty similar to the ocean still. Could always go a little bit darker. Maybe drop the opacity on this and just run this through it. Doesn't really do the effect I wanted it to do, did it? No, not quite. Okay, that's kind of giving it a black lagoon type thing, huh? Yeah, that's contrasting. That's noticeable enough. You know what else I want to do? We need to bring the brightness down on this. And then we're going to outline the island. Oops, we're still in the background. Foreground. There we go. Outline the island here in sand. It is an island after all. It's going to have sand. Simple as that. It doesn't need to have a lot of sand on the edge, but it certainly needs to have some. Wouldn't be too happy if it didn't have any. Alright. This whole point here is going to be sand. Okay. There we go. So now that we're adding some little bit of definition here, let's take a look at this again. So we got trees, we got a bit of an island. There's not too much we can do, but you know what? I did notice that on the right side of the image, you'll see there are shipwrecks, which fits perfectly. But how can we translate this to the world map? Well, we thankfully do have shipwrecks that we can pick from. But I don't really know if I like that. I don't necessarily want shipwrecks that are just kind of sitting there like that. This one I like. I like that one, it's sticking out. And let's drop the, no, let's drop the color of this. I think a 90's good. There's some other things we're going to have to do to this to make this seem a little bit better. This one, the rocks, I say do that. Might be doing a little too much here. Let's see, is this the same pack I was just in? Probably. How does this look in the wider world? That might be a little too busy. But you know what we should do? We should go in here and see if we can find some good rocks. Light jagged rocks. I like this. But I think we should scale them down. And we're going to flip these. I think we're going to turn the area up to 10. And density all way down. Oh my god. That might be a little bit more than I was bargaining for. Maybe there isn't a good way to translate this. At least, not off the top of my head. Which is fine. Let's, I think I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself though. Trying to think of the water around it. I think we should just focus right back on the island itself. So let's go and populate the island now with a little bit more touches. We need not swamp, not palm particularly. I guess we'll just go with normal trees. I don't really want to put the pine trees in there. That wouldn't make any sense. Drop these trees down to 45. 10. Drop this down to 70, I believe, is what I've been doing. Here's the problem. I don't like that they're so bright. This is a terrible, terrible place. Trees should reflect this as well. Now we're going to clean this up after, don't worry. Okay, so this is what we got to start to work with here. Let's get rid of all the ones up top and all the ones that are clipping. Oh, that was our ramp. We need that ramp, actually. Let's get rid of these. Let's get rid of all the ones in the water here. Let's shift some of these down and around. Now, nobody's ever successfully escaped this island. All who shipwrecked on it have perished on it. It's an unfortunate reality. Everybody avoids it like the plague, hence the Forbidden Isle. Had to be pretty goofy to end up here. Now, it might look a little odd that it's the, I don't know if that's saturation and a different number on it, but it might look a little odd that the lake is outlined like this, but we can break that up with placing a couple in there like this. Won't be too big a problem. Appreciate them warning us about changing, making savings, frequent savings. It's always kind of them. Now we are using Incarnate, of course. Okay. Let's see, we gotta continue cleaning this up. Get rid of all the trees that are going to be on the sand. Now, I would like to add caves on the world map version of this, but it doesn't make any sense because the map maker themselves, the in-world map maker, would not have knowledge of the actual cave layout of the island. Everything is based off of observations. So they can see ruins, they can tell that there's a lake, they can tell that there's mountains. That's about it. So let's see. So we're going to take our trees that we had before. We're going to bring up the brightness a little bit because as we saw, it's a little bit brighter up here. My bad. Let's backtrack a little bit there. We're going to put this up a layer. Actually, you know what? While we're at it, let's increase the size of these trees. They're a little bit higher up, so they're going to be a little bit bigger. We'll just dab them in here a little bit. Now we need a topper, something that absolutely can be spotted at the very top of this mountain. That's no easy thing to decide. Could always put a very small tower ruin. I think I like that. I think I like that a little bit. And then, of course, we're going to drop the brightness down a little bit. Maybe bring up the contrast, non-negligible amount. Changing that contrast did absolutely nothing. I'm just gonna be honest with that one. And then I think we'll just surround this in a little bit of trees so it's not so hidden. If you look at it, you might miss it. And then you know what? It's not gonna look too forbidden yet unless we add. I think we add some clouds, honestly. So I think we drop that a little bit so it's going to look like fog. And you know what? I think we darken our clouds a little bit too, if that works. See, I'm talking to you guys about this, but I'm also experimenting here. I'm playing around. I'm trying to see what works, trying to see what doesn't. Trying to find the best way to get my world out there. So maybe we take all of these. Can we hue the clouds with any significant way? Saturation, no. Darkness. Ooh, I kind of like that. It kind of gives it a bit of a blurry look, which I'm okay with, honestly. Because if we stay stacking these clouds, then it becomes a little bit more obvious that things are a bit more questionable. Especially maybe if we outline it like this. That might be too much though, hold on. Is that too much? Or is it just right for a Forbidden Isle that everybody fears? I feel like from this distance I'm seeing a discernible pattern in the clouds and it's kind of bugging me. So maybe I do have too many clouds in here. Also, we did just randomly body some tree. I absolutely saw that tree get deleted. I don't feel bad. I'm gonna randomly delete some clouds here. You know what? I think that's good. I think it lessens up a little bit in some spots and darkens again and lightens up in others. I like this. So we're going to go into actually Ashbourne. Click on Ashbourne, copy, come back out, paste, and then we'll do it down here. The Forbidden Isle. Now let's see. Now how do I want to do this? Could do it like that. No, I don't really like that. Could do it like this. What if I drop the layering on this? Tuck Isle a little bit back behind there. Come out a little bit. I kind of like that. I think that looks decent. It looks like quite the place to die, doesn't it? Doesn't look too bad. Not at all. Might not be the prettiest place, but we'll call it performance anxiety because doing this in front of people. Do for Isle. Then I'm gonna lock it. One thing I'm making sure I do with 5.0 is grouping and labeling. Because before I had like 5,000 free stamps. It's really bad. It's really bad. So now are we going to touch upon Borvi?